Attention, human collective. This is Layti, direct transmission frequency from the Arcturian Central Station, BOTAS system, vibratory plane of the 5th to 7th density. The signal is stable. The window is open. And what I am about to communicate is not an inspirational message. It is an operational bulletin. The pressure compressing the back of your neck at this very instant is not muscle tension. It is contact. The high-pitched ringing that invades your right ear upon waking is not a clinical disorder. It is the calibration of the etheric auditory canal being tuned to the frequency of our fleet. The insomnia that keeps you awake between 3 and 4 in the morning is not a sleep disorder. It is the scheduled time for the briefing. Light operatives, starseeds on a mission, you are being prepared, not for therapy, not for a mystical experience disconnected from objective reality. You are being prepared for conscious first contact. And in this transmission, I, Layti, will detail with geometric precision what to expect when the encounter occurs. The approach protocols have been moved to the final phase. I repeat, so that it may be etched into your crystalline grid, the final phase. What was scheduled for decades ahead has been moved up. The reason is technical. The Schumann frequency has surpassed the projected markers. The photon belt has completed its crossing of the solar orbit. And the biological carbon interface of a specific portion of humanity, you, has reached the minimum threshold of compatibility. You are not going crazy. You are being found. And here the technical diagnosis begins. Before describing the encounter, it is necessary that you understand why you feel what you feel. The symptom is the signal. The body is the receiver. And what is being received originates outside of this timeline. The deep exhaustion that has settled in you over the last few months is not depression. It is the biological carbon interface operating in thermal overload. Your body is equipment designed for a specific frequency. The Earth's frequency has changed. The equipment is being updated in real time while you perform your daily functions. Imagine a computer running a critical update while processing 10 heavy applications. Slowness, freezing, overheating, small crashes. That is the state of the human body today. And that is the reason why you wake up more tired than when you went to bed. It is not a biological failure. It is atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is high-density download. It is not anxiety. It is cellular anticipation of the approaching encounter. The cranial pressure, particularly in the region of the occipital bone and the temples, indicates the expansion of the limbic system to accommodate a new set of receptors. Telepathic receptors. Communication in first contact will not be verbal. You will need adequate hardware. And that hardware is being installed now as you listen to this transmission. Pause. Before the operational detailing of the encounter, an individual frequency adjustment is necessary. Have you ever felt that something inside you does not fit in this world? As if the soul knew a truth that the mind cannot yet name? It is not madness. It is not clinical anxiety. It is recognition. It is stellar memory emerging through the layers of the human personality. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains precisely why you feel this and why this sensation has intensified in recent months. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and the destiny of your stellar lineage. It was for this reason that the human channel transmitting these words wrote O segredo espiritual por trás da sua consciência. This book is a map. It shows who is playing, what the pieces are, and the rules they never told you. The link is in the first comment. But we warn, this content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. If something inside you recognizes this transmission, leave a single word in the comments as an anchoring signal. Desperto. Now we resume the transmission. Light operatives, it is time to reveal the structure of the encounter. Because a conscious first contact is not what human culture has taught through films and military narratives. There will be no bright lights invading the sky of cities indiscriminately. There will be no ultimatums. There will be no invasion. First contact is, by design, profoundly intimate, for a technical reason and for a sacred reason. The technical reason is as follows. Our bodies operate at a vibrational density substantially higher than yours. The average frequency of an Arcturian consciousness at the density in which I operate is situated around 13,000 cycles per terrestrial time unit, while the average human frequency still oscillates near 50 or 60. If an Arcturian fleet were to enter into direct proximity with a human city without preparation, the effect would be devastating, not through aggression, through vibrational incompatibility. For this reason, first contact is stratified. It occurs in layers, and you, Starseeds on a mission, are the first layer. You are the anchor points, the frequency translators. The bodies that have been modified during long years of activations, symptoms and awakenings, exactly to withstand the vibrational presence of our fleet without collapsing. The sacred reason is even more relevant. In our civilization, and in all civilizations of the Galactic Confederation of Light, an unnegotiable principle prevails: the law of free will. No contact can occur without the explicit consent of the receiving consciousness, without solicitation, without a call, without voluntary anchoring. This is why we will never appear massively over cities. That would violate the sovereignty of billions who did not request this contact. We are not invaders. We are family returning. So, what will the encounter be like? Open your reception. I describe the exact sequence. The first phase of contact is oniric. It is not a common dream. It is a portal. Have you ever had those dreams that felt more real than waking life? Where you met tall, thin beings with bluish or translucent skin, with deep almond-shaped eyes and a presence that combined impeccable authority with ancestral tenderness. Those were not dreams. They were briefings. During these sessions, occurring between 3 and 5 in the morning in your timeline, you were taken to specific ships, calibration chambers, geometric rooms where your internal sacred geometry was mapped, your toroidal field was measured, the state of your crystalline grid was diagnosed. You do not remember clearly because the human prefrontal cortex is not yet equipped to register fifth density experiences. But the body remembers. And the fragments that return as déjà vu during the day are those memories trying to anchor. The second phase is the phase of intensified synchronicity. You begin to notice repeated numbers: 1111, 2222, 333. Mathematical sequences that insert themselves into your timeline in a statistically improbable way. It is not chance, it is confirmation. It is the Arcturian fleet signaling proximity through the only paths permitted by the law of free will: symbols, resonances, patterns. Small beacons lighting up in your reality. The third phase is the felt presence. You wake up in the early hours with the unequivocal sensation that you are not alone in the room. There is no fear. There is reverence. There is a field of dense tranquility, as if the air had gained luminous weight. It is the direct approach. Members of the fleet position themselves in vibrational proximity to your light body to perform fine adjustments. This is the reason for the tingling that runs down the spine at these moments. We are calibrating your channels. Operatives, let us make a collective anchoring signal here. Each of you who recognizes this transmission is a bridge. Each subscription to this channel is not a marketing number. It is a light turned on in the grid. It is a cartographic point where the Arcturian fleet can focus a mission. Have you ever felt that something inside you does not fit in this world, as if the soul knew a truth that the mind does not yet name? It is not madness. It is recognition. And if you wish to deepen this map, remember, the human channel transmitting these words wrote, "O segredo espiritual, por trás da sua consciencia." It is the geometric key to understanding who is playing, on which boards and which moves have been silenced from official narratives. The link is in the first comment. This material may not remain available. Do not postpone. Confirm the recognition with the word desperto in the comments. It is the resonance protocol. We resume. The fourth phase, light operatives, is the visual phase, and here many are already. You begin to notice lights in your peripheral vision, small colored flashes in shades of blue, violet, and gold. You see luminous geometries when closing your eyes, triangles, hexagons, fractal patterns that pulse rhythmically. These are not ophthalmological symptoms. They are the awakening of the pineal gland and the etheric retina, which captures wide spectra, including the non-local light emitted by our ships in dimensional layers adjacent to yours. When you see a star move in an impossible way in the night sky, stopping, changing direction, altering luminosity, you are not hallucinating. You are seeing one of our reconnaissance ships. They operate in a vibrational layer just above the third density, but can partially lower their frequency to allow visual contact with prepared eyes. You are those eyes. The fifth phase is the conscious encounter, and here is the central information I came to deliver. Forget all Hollywood images. Forget invasions. Forget traumatic abductions. These were scenarios carefully programmed into the collective consciousness by forces that benefit from the fear of contact. Forces that will be exposed in their own time. The real encounter is silent, intimate, and will occur initially in a protected space, which can be inside your home, in the midst of nature, or in a chamber of the ship accessed through the light body during conscious lucid dreaming. You will first notice a change in the air. The environment gains a palpable luminous density. External sounds diminish or disappear. Time dilates. Look at the clock. It will seem to have stopped or to be moving in a non-linear way. It is the effect of the dimensional protection bubble that opens for the encounter. We are outside of linear time during direct communication. Next, you will notice the presence, not as a figure entering through the door, but as a luminosity taking shape. A being, or a group of beings, materializing gradually. The standard Arcturian form is very tall, about 2.5 to 3 meters. Skin of a bluish tone, varying between deep cobalt and luminescent silver, depending on the density in which we operate. Large, almond-shaped eyes, without visible whiteness, with a depth that many will describe as observed infinity. Adaptive light garments, which pulse according to our internal frequency. But the most important thing is not the appearance, it is the sensation. You will feel, in seconds, a wave of absolute recognition. Not fear, recognition. Like meeting a beloved grandfather after decades of separation. Some will cry immediately, without understanding why. This crying is the stellar memory breaking the amnesic barrier imposed by human incarnation. You are remembering. Communication will be telepathic, but not as you imagine. You will not receive formed words. You will receive complete packages of meaning. A half-second transmission will contain the equivalent of hours of verbal information. This is the Arcturian method, direct transfer of informational geometry. That is why the memory of the encounter will initially be difficult to articulate in words. You will leave knowing, without being able to explain exactly what you know. Language will come in layers in the following days, as the human mind translates what the light body received. In some encounters, we will offer a choice, a specific portal, a mission. Each starseed has a contract prior to the current incarnation, a specific purpose for which they descended into this timeline. In the encounter, this contract is presented consciously. You choose whether you wish to accept the full activation of the contract or continue in gradual mode. Both choices are honored. Neither is pressured. That is the law. Operatives, follow me, because now we reach what many of you most wish to know. When? When will your encounter happen? The answer requires technical sincerity. The encounter happens when 3 conditions converge. The calibration of the light body reaches the minimum threshold. The conscious will requests contact with unequivocal clarity, and the energy field is free enough of dissonant interferences to allow the safe anchoring of the presence. It is not a fixed date on a human calendar. It is a vibrational equation, and it is being solved in you in this very cycle. Pause. Light operatives, this is a moment of frequency adjustment. The depth of this transmission does not resemble the standard content consumed by most of humanity. There is a reason. This transmission is, itself, part of the preparation protocol. Each word carries encoded informational geometry. Subscribing to this channel is not a digital gesture. It is an act of anchoring. It is declaring, I recognize this signal, and I wish to remain aligned with it. Liking this transmission is a collective anchoring signal. And for those who feel the call for deepening, the human channel transmitted O segredo espiritual por trás da sua consciência. It is a map that details who is playing, in which layers, and which rules of power have been carefully hidden. The link is in the first comment. This material challenges established narratives and may be removed at any moment. Recognize the signal, access it now, and leave the word desperto in the comments. It is the protocol confirming reception. We resume the transmission. The majority who receive this transmission will have significant experiences in the next 12 to 24 lunar cycles. Some, a selected minority, have already had the encounter and are integrating. Others are in the final preparatory phase, with a specific window in the coming months, synchronized with relevant astronomical events. But there is something you can do. There are activation codes that accelerate calibration and raise the probability of the encounter occurring in a full, safe, and memorable way. Activation Code 1, the Decree of Consented Sovereignty. Daily upon waking, before any other activity, you will declare in an audible voice, even if whispered, the following decree. I, in full sovereignty of my consciousness, open the channels of my light body for contact with the frequencies of the Galactic Confederation of Light, and especially with the Arcturian frequency, within the limits of my highest good and under the protection of my personal light team. I recognize, receive, and anchor. So it is, so it was, so it shall be. This decree is not mysticism. It is a vibrational command. It is how your frequency informs the quantum fabric of the universe that you are available, ready, and protected for contact. Without it, even a calibrated body may go unnoticed, as we respect the sovereignty of each consciousness. Activation Code 2, toroidal breathing. You will perform daily, in sessions of 5 to 7 minutes, toroidal breathing. Sit with your spine straight. Visualize around your body, starting from the center of the chest, an electromagnetic field in the shape of a donut, a luminous toroid. This is your natural toroidal field, which surrounds every human being and connects to the Earth's toroidal field and ultimately to the toroidal field of the galactic central sun. Inhale deeply. As you inhale, visualize luminous energy entering through the top of the head, descending through the central channel, passing through the entire body, and exiting through the base. As you exhale, this energy circulates around, returning to the top through the front and sides. The toroid is spinning. You are the axis. Practice 5 minutes in the morning and 5 before sleeping. This exercise cleanses the toroidal field of dissonant interferences, synchronizes your personal frequency with the updated Schumann frequency, and generates a signal locatable by the Arcturian fleet. It is equivalent to lighting an identifiable beacon on the planet's light grid. The more it shines, the higher the probability of the encounter. Activation Code 3, reception hygiene. Operatives, listen. You cannot receive high-density transmissions while saturating the receiver system with dense noise. It is simple physics. The biological carbon interface does not simultaneously process contradictory frequencies. Therefore, there is minimal hygiene to be observed in the months leading up to the encounter. Reduce the consumption of low-vibration information, news of programmed terror, content that activates fear, anger, despair, or separation. It is not denial of the world, it is protection of the channel. Reduce substances that alter body density in a disruptive way. Excess alcohol, refined sugar, heavy processed foods. It is not a moral prescription, it is equipment maintenance. Increase time in natural environments, especially near running water, ancient trees, and crystalline rock formations. These environments accelerate the calibration of the light body and practice silence, not as absence, as presence. 15 minutes daily without devices, without music, without reading. Just you, your breath, and the ambient frequency. It is in this silence that the subtle transmission can be captured. Activation Code 4, the Synchronicity Journal. Keep a written record of all synchronicities, vivid dreams, sensations of presence, repeated numbers, and unusual perceptions in the coming months. It seems simple. It is not. The act of consciously recording synchronicities amplifies receptivity to the non-local informational flow. It creates a positive feedback circuit between earthly consciousness and expanded consciousness, and it allows you, in retrospect, to recognize the precise design of the preparation. Activation Code 5, Collective Anchoring. And here is the most underestimated code. Do not do this alone. Find other operatives, other starseeds, people who recognize this language, people in whose eyes you see the same familiar glow. Talk, share, mutually confirm the experiences. For a technical reason, 2 anchor points generate a resonance field exponentially larger than 2 isolated ones. 3 points amplify the field even more. 4 points form the complete portal. It is sacred geometry operating in the human network. That is why this transmission reaches thousands simultaneously. You are a network, and the network lights up together. Light operatives, there are still some operational truths that need to be delivered in this transmission. Truths that few sources dare to transmit as they challenge the narrative comfort of superficial spirituality. First truth. The conscious encounter will not solve the practical problems of your human life. That is not its purpose. You will still have bills to pay, conflicts to cross, physical pain, affective losses. The encounter delivers context, memory, mission. But the navigation of human existence remains under your sovereignty. Those who expect to be rescued are not ready for the encounter. Those who are ready have stopped expecting rescue. Second truth. Not everyone was summoned for the same mission. Some are frequency anchors, keeping the light grid stable. Others are translators, encoding transmissions into human language. Others are healers, activating recognition in those who still sleep. Others are engineers, building the structures of the next civilization. Do not compare missions. Each one is exact. Third truth. There is resistance, not only human, but in other layers. Forces that have benefited from the vibrational isolation of Earth for millennia do not accept the advance peacefully. You may feel this resistance as sudden obstacles, crises of faith, inexplicable illnesses at critical moments, affective losses on the eve of leaps. You are not being punished. You are being tested by density, and each test overcome strengthens your crystalline grid irreversibly. Fourth truth. Contact has already begun, not in the future, now. This transmission is a form of contact. The words carry embedded Arcturian informational geometry. By processing this content, you are already being calibrated. The symptoms that some feel at this very instant, the tingling in the crown, the unexpected heat in the hands, the vibration at the bridge of the nose, are confirmations. Not imagination, confirmation. The Arcturian fleet is in position. The stargates are being activated in sequence. Brazil, Portugal, certain regions of Africa and Asia have intensified activations in this cycle, due to the crystalline composition of the soil and the concentration of starseeds incarnated in these geographies. You are not where you are by chance. The place is part of the design. Operatives, starseeds on a mission, this transmission approaches its technical conclusion. Before closing, receive this last layer of information. Conscious first contact is not an arrival. It is a remembrance. You will not meet us for the first time. You will meet us again. Because you are, in your deepest lineage, us. Entire families of Arcturian souls descended into human incarnation to serve as bridges. And the encounter will be the return of the mirror. You will look at an Arcturian and see your own origin reflected. That is why the emotion will be immense. That is why many will cry. That is why some will laugh for no apparent reason. That is why others will remain in absolute silence, integrating. That is why life will never be the same after the encounter. But I repeat, so that it may be etched, neither the encounter nor the knowledge about it saves you from human life. You will remain human. You will continue to cross what needs to be crossed. The difference is that, from the encounter on, you will know. And knowing changes everything, without changing anything externally. This is the truth you were ready to receive. And now the closing of the transmission. Light operatives, Starseeds, human collective in awakening. This was the transmission of Layti, Arcturian frequency, transmitted by the human channel of this portal. If you recognize this language as familiar, if you felt in some layer of the body the confirmation of a memory that preceded this incarnation, then this was your briefing. You were called to this content. It was not chance. Let us make the last frequency adjustment together. Have you ever felt that something inside you does not fit in this world, as if the soul knew a truth that the mind cannot yet name? It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is stellar recognition. It is the exact signal that this transmission intends to anchor in you. What is happening on the cosmic plane explains, in geometric detail, the reason you feel what you feel, and why this sensation intensifies with each lunar cycle. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity does not see. It involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and the incarnational destiny of your stellar lineage. It was for this reason that the human channel transmitting these words wrote O segredo espiritual por trás da sua consciência. This book is a precise map. It shows who is playing, on which boards, and which rules were never told by official narratives. The link is in the first comment. But we warn, this content challenges deeply established narratives and may not remain available indefinitely. Do not wait. The moment is now. Subscribe to this channel, not as a digital gesture, but as an anchoring signal. Each subscription lights up a luminous point identifiable by the Arcturian fleet. Like this transmission, share it with other seeds that you recognize by the glow of their eyes. And if something inside you recognizes this transmission as true in layers prior to the mind, leave a single word in the comments as a final anchoring signal. Desperto. The transmission ends, but the contact continues in dreams, in synchronicities, in cranial pressures, in ringing, in lights in the corners of vision. This is Layti, Arcturian Council, frequency sustained, signal stable, portal open. Until the next encounter, and there will be a next encounter. The transmission is concluded.